Good evening, everybody. Sorry. Welcome to Team Next Generation's call. This is Wednesday, October 5. And tonight, we are going to be diving into one of the largest kind of head game fears that all of us deal with as coaches. This is the thing that I think stands in the way of us all just going for it and diving in and being successful. Before I do that, I want to say, so I was going over I was looking at the online office today, and let me just put it this way. You know how we do recognition banners and stuff? Like, does everybody know how we do, like, hey, way to go, you achieved this? I'm going to be doing a lot of those tomorrow because you guys are killing it. And I know I'm not going to be alone doing them. Like, this team you guys are just on it, ridiculously on it. I was looking back there, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What is going on? I don't know what lit the fire in you guys. Something did, because all of you guys are showing up. So I wish I can't really like say names until tomorrow because that, I got to stick to Thursdays or the recognition days. But let me just tell you, you guys are killing it. So I'm really proud of you guys. And I definitely wanted to take a second out there to just kind of say well done and good job. Okay. So today we are going to chat a little bit about that famous little word, no. Who has heard no from somebody in the past week when they've invited them, right? Anybody? No, maybe later, not right now, leave me alone, I hate you, I want to kick you. I haven't heard those yet. Jessica, you've heard I hate you? Okay. Man.
I got a please stop sending me this crap. Clearly you did not get it when I did not answer back that I was not interested.
See? We get a lot of those. So here's the thing, guys. Anytime that you're in a position where you're forced in a way to reach out to people to invite them to something, you're also putting yourself in a position where you're probably going to be hearing some people say, you know what, it's just not for me right now. The beauty of what we do, the specific business that we're in, meaning the beauty of Beachbody versus any other company like this, is that we cannot worry. We don't even have to worry about those no's. We literally don't, because as a coach, we are incapable of pushing somebody into doing something. How many of us can be pushed into or pressured into or sold into working out? Can any of us? Like, not one of us can be sold into working out. Like, I can quote unquote sell you a product, right? But you're going to do it for like 3 days and then you're going to be over it, right? Like, there's no way that you're gonna continue with it because your heart wasn't in it. Same thing goes for coaching. So when we're inviting somebody, if they say no to us, to me, that needs to be a good thing. It needs to be a positive, because it says, okay, I know from after 2 years of doing this that means not this minute, maybe now, maybe later, a little bit later. And really what that ultimately means is down the road, it will happen. It's just not time for me right now, right? It never really truly honestly means no. So the beauty is we can utilize those no's. And the way I think about it personally is I look at it and go, every time I hear somebody say, not right now, no thank you, whatever it is, whatever form it comes in, I just go, awesome, I'm putting that in the bank, because that's just kind of something I'm putting in savings. And maybe not next month, but the next month or the next month after that, because we're going to be consistent. We're going to show up consistently and continue to show up for the next year, year after that. That's eventually going to turn into somebody saying, yeah, you know what? Finally, I think I am ready. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thanks for not forgetting about me. That's where that goes. So I just know, hey, there's no problem. I've talked to this person. I'm going to continue to follow up with them until they tell me to leave them alone, which I guess Jessica's had that happen like once. Maybe some of us had it a couple of times, but I've honestly never had somebody say, leave me alone. And it just goes to show, even when it does happen, it's super rare.
That was the first time that anybody's ever been rude to me like that, ever. That's the first one that somebody was like that. So.
Exactly. So I think that for us, really, I think it's kind of a positive. So really what I want to do in this call is I don't want to sit here and tell you guys for the next 30 minutes about why no is no big deal, right? What I do want to do is give you guys immediate kind of process steps or immediate value that you guys can utilize to react. How do we react to those no's that you guys can put into action for how to deal with it when somebody says no, right? Because I think that that's a little bit more important. And I think that we also need to recognize the strength within that no. And at the very end of this call, Dion and I will tell you kind of, we'll shed light on a little thing we've got going on that we want to share with you guys, a little competition, a friendly competition. But until then, I would love for some of the leaders, Deanna, I don't know do you have something you wanted to say, Deanna? I don't honestly know I didn't really talk to her about the call. We just kind of had an idea of what it was going to be about. I didn't really talk to her about specifically. Did you have anything you wanted to share before
I'll probably.
Okay. You didn't have anything specific though that you're like, I need to make sure that I let. Okay. So really what I want to do is kind of hear from some of the leaders on the team, and when I say leaders, I don't mean like anybody, but just all of you guys that are showing up to me are leaders, right? Because you're all choosing to show up. This is one of those things that isn't learned by, and everybody on the team can add value here, I guess is what I'm getting at. You don't have to be, well, I've been doing this for 10 years. That's why I know how to deal with it. No is a mental thing, right? It's the way we process hearing it, the way we react to it, how we speak in terms of it, all that stuff is a mental thing. So realistically, I'd love to hear some people kind of share how they react to it. There are a couple things. Who here has read the book Go for No? Has anybody read that? Not yet? Okay, so a few of us. Guys, read Go for No. It's actually a very interesting book. And the reason I say that is because we get so paralyzed by the fear and the concern of people saying no. We take it personally, right? I know I'm not the only one that takes it personally. I know I've taken it personally before, and I know that there's a lot of us on this call that take that personally. We hear that, it shuts us down. And what this book does is basically it resets your mind frame so that your mind actually sees those no's as a positive. And to give you kind of perspective on that, basically think about it this way. Imagine that if and Dion and I both have been, I can't speak for everybody, but we have both been guilty of doing this. You've got a certain amount of people you want to help every month, right? So let's say that's 5 people that you want to help every month. And you say, okay, and you start inviting, right? And you're looking for those yeses. You're looking for those people that are coming to, that are going to join us. We're all excited. And by the 15th, 5 people, SC10, we're golden. Our goal is done, right? And then what happens after the 15th? Has anybody had this happen? What happens with us? We slow down. We stop inviting because we've met our goal. Our goal was 5. It was 10 people, was SC10, 5 people. That was the goal. So after that, we start to slow down, and we're not as consistent with that. Typically, we're not as consistent with that invite process because we're just going to start over again next month, and we're just going to continue to do it, right? We're looking for those yeses. How does that work in comparison to what if instead of having a goal of I'm going to get 5 yeses this month, what if your goal was I'm going to hear 500 no's this month? What do you think that's going to do to your invite process? We're going to invite a lot more people because we're going to I want to hear those no's. So when you hit 5 yeses, you don't stop at 5 yeses. You continue on beyond 5 yeses because you're looking for that no, not the yes. Does that make sense? So what we do is it keeps us from wanting to, it does 2 things really, but part of it is it keeps us from wanting to stop when we've reached a goal that really we shouldn't be stopping at, but it also takes the power out of the no. Right now, when all of a sudden, when you hear a no, it becomes positive. It becomes, well, this isn't something that's negative. Yes, that's one more no. Check it off. Yes, that's one more no. Check that off. And then when I hit my 500, I guarantee, the numbers are different, but I guarantee you look for enough no's and you're going to hear yeses along the way, right? So instead of being paralyzed by that no, allow that to be fuel for you to invite more people. So that's really kind of what the book speaks to. It kind of like goes over that process and makes you realize that, hearing no is an absolutely paramount part of being successful in an industry like this. If we're going to truly reach out to help as many people as we possibly can, then we have no other way of doing that than hearing some no's along the way, right? And searching for those people that are receptive to listening, we're going to find people that are not receptive to listening. And that's okay because usually that lack of being receptive really, it speaks to more specific a time than it speaks to them being, I'm actually not receptive. They become receptive over time, right? It just takes enough of you being consistent, showing up on your day-to-day. I guarantee there's not one of us in this call right now that said yes to coaching the very first time. Raise their hands. Who said, maybe there's one of us, who said yes to coaching the very first time you got asked to coach? Oh my gosh, Natalie? Okay. So one person. Did anybody else? Anybody else say yes? No. Who said no?
I kind of did.
Kind of did.
I have Jessica doing it already.
Okay, but who said no the first time? Who said no the second time? Anybody say no the third time? Third time you got asked, you were still saying no? Okay. There's people in this. Yeah, Jen right there. See? Jen, how many times did you say no before you finally decided, okay, I'm going to go for it?
Well, it took me several months. I didn't really say no. I just kind of said, not yet, not yet, not yet.
See, that's perceived in many cases as that's a no, right? Like that's somebody saying, no, not for me, not yet, not right now. But what did it mean for you at the end of the day?
Well, for me, I knew that I wanted to in the back of my mind, but I also was kind of afraid to commit because I had what I felt like was way too much on my plate. So I needed to be okay with it. And eventually I was.
And how many times, so you said no like 3 or 4 times or whatever. Sorry?
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 months maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many times did Deanna reach out to you again over that period of time where you're saying no? Roughly.
Well, probably 3 or 4, I think.
So maybe like once a month probably would be a fair estimate.
I think so.
Were you ever frustrated or annoyed? I mean, and this is an honest question. You can say yes. There's no wrong answer to this. I'm not trying to bait you. Were you ever frustrated or annoyed with the way she approached you?
No.
Okay. Deanna, can you tell us how you approached Jen when you were reaching out to her when she wasn't responding or when she was saying no? Do you remember?
No. I really don't remember. I mean, because I've shared before, like me and Jen went to high school together, right? So inviting people from high school for me was a huge, huge fear. Like I can invite people I don't know all day because I'm not invested emotionally with them. So I'm just like, if they tell me no, then it's no big deal. But like, if somebody that I'm friends with or that I actually know tells me no, it's kind of scary. So, but I still think that I invite pretty genuinely, no matter who it is. You know, I just always invite with, hey, I would love to do this together. If it's something you want to do, cool. If not, that's cool. You know, I never say, here's this thing and here's how much it costs and it's challenge pack and it's awesome and da-da-da. I just say, you know, would you love to do this together? And, you know, and then kind of get to know what her goals are. And, you know, I remember when we were talking, she actually told me that she wishes she could do Shakeology, but at the time she was afraid that there was something in it or whatever that wouldn't really react well with her. And, you know, but I met her where she was at. I'm like, that's totally fine. You know, you can still do the program with us. That's totally cool. But she decided she was actually going to have her husband drink it. And then she turns out that she was able to drink it and loves it and everything's great, you know? So I think it's really important to meet people where they're at. And even if they're not joining a challenge group, but hey, we all have meal plans that we've made for ourselves. So if they're like, I just really struggle with eating, you know, and you're inviting them to this group and they're just like, now's not the time. You know, it's like, well, what do you struggle with? Well, you know, finding something to eat. And I'm like, oh, well, I've done this before. I won't create a meal plan for people because I know that sometimes coaches have done that in the past and you invest a lot of time. But if you have a meal plan, you're like, here's how I eat, you know, try this, see how it works for you. Or here's some ideas for savings, you know? So I think just in a way that's genuine and, you know, you love them anyways, even if they tell you no, because they're not saying no to you. It's literally just not now, or it's not the right time. Or like she says, she's got stuff on her plate, or, you know, it's a big commitment for people because they don't want to fail. Right. So they feel like that they have to have everything perfect. And being okay with that, because I know that we all kind of have those same kind of, you know, apprehensions as well. So sorry, that was a really long answer, but.
No, that was great. One of the things that I took away from that though, and guys, I hope you guys take away as well, is Deanna was really, so for Deanna, Jen was a concern for her. That was a fearful invite. Let me put it that way, right? Because they do have a history. So for Deanna, that's very uncomfortable for her to continue to invite to, let alone following up with somebody like that, right? Because now you're like, oh my gosh, I've got somebody that I'm already scared to invite, and now I'm going to follow up with them again, and they've already said no. So what do I do? But what it shows us is if you're consistent and you continue to follow up in a manner that really is truly honestly about helping somebody and not about trying to cram something down their throat, but just, hey, I'm being honest and I'm caring about you and that's what I'm here for. And if you want me to leave you alone, let me know. It's not a problem. I'm not here to bother you. It's that whole kind of, please don't confuse my passion with pressure. It's not about being pressured, right? I'm passionate about this and I'm trying to share it. And if you're interested, awesome. If not, no worries. If we take that approach to it, just like Jen, who has followed up, even though she had said no and she was not receptive to it for a handful of months, she eventually got to the point where in her mind, she was receptive. And that was when Deanna probably reached out to her again, or she reached out to Deanna. But either way, she either thought, okay, now I'm ready. This looks interesting. I'm going to reach out to Deanna and ask her about it. Or Deanna reached out to her and she replied to it and said, okay, now I'm good. Had either of those, had Deanna not followed up, it wouldn't have happened. Had Deanna not followed up consistently, even if Jen saw a post from somebody, many times we know that what will happen is, oh, I'm not being followed up with. I see this post online about this program. I'm going to reach out to the person that did follow up with me, or this other person that has seen more posts on their timeline because they're clearly more into it. So I'm going to reach out to them and ask them about it, right? So both those things happen. Is there anybody on the call tonight that was really, really, really scared to invite somebody and was kind of, I'm absolutely positive that this would not be for this person at all, and you sent out the invite anyway, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I can't believe they said yes. Deanna? Who was that, and when did that happen?
Again, it was somebody they went to high school with. That she absolutely did not really like me in high school at all, and she actually ended up marrying my my first high school boyfriend. And so I was just like, she probably totally hates me. Oh my gosh, do I want to send this? And I put it off for her forever, and then I just sent it, and she's like, yeah, I want to join you. And I'm like, really? That's so cool. Do you not hate me anymore? So I think we just get in our own heads so much and worry about what other people are thinking. We're all kind of, this sounds bad, but we're all kind of selfish creatures. We're not really worried about we're worried about what people are thinking about us, not really concerned with, oh gosh, Deanna's this way. Maybe she was thinking, oh my gosh, what is Deanna thinking about me? Or, you know what I mean? We get so darn in our heads and wrapped up, and we let that stupid little insecurity thing. But yeah, I was blown away. And that's actually one of the times that I'm just that's why I just need to invite, because you can never discount. Or I used to, in the beginning when I was a new coach, I would portray that money issue to people, because I had the money issue in the beginning. So I would say, I would make their minds up for them. I'm like, oh, they probably can't afford it, or it's probably going to be too much for them, or they're probably going to think this. And then I was amazed at when I just took, why are we making that decision for them? And once I'm just I'm just putting it out there to whomever, because I really believe in the programs and the products and everything like that. And then I was amazed. I was amazed at how many people didn't even ask about the price. They're like, yeah, just send me a link. I'm like, okay. Because once I really found the value in that, in the, I'll tell you, once I really felt the value and found the value in a challenge pack, I really, because I think that's where a lot of us struggle with. We're like, okay, yeah, these the workout's really fun, right? Because that's where we always go, because it's easy. It's what people see. But then I'm like, you're forgetting this whole other thing about the nutrition. Not only, do you have a really super simple nutrition, but Shakeology is really a truly amazing product. I'm not going to say it cures cancer and does all this awesome stuff, but hello, I take Dookies every day, and that's really big for me. And I share that to everybody, because I know, yep, see, Tracy, because it's a huge deal, especially when you weren't taking a crap, but twice a week, and then you do it every day. That's huge. Yeah, I'm trying not to use the S word, but I really want to right now.
You still do not get, and you're not allowed to ever go off on what I write on my timeline on my page at all on Facebook, because every time we get in a scenario where you can talk about poop, you're all over it. So you don't get that right anymore. Just so you know, just a heads up.
Yeah, I'm all over the poop. Yeah, that's it. So yeah.
No, I mean, it's exactly it, guys. So she's got a great point there. And one of the kind of thoughts that I wanted to kind of hit on tonight, which is kind of what she's talking about, but also is every time, if you think about it, if we're consistently trying to go for yeses, right? If we're focused, am I cutting out? for people?
You're good.
Okay, I just got this big no connection thing. If we're constantly going for yeses, like if we're focused on who's going to say yes to us and finding somebody, just purely finding somebody to help, what's going to happen subconsciously is we're going to go through our list. We're going to look at the people that we could invite. Maybe you're searching your friends list, and you're going to subconsciously look for the people that you believe will say yes, right? Or that you believe have a possibility of saying yes, and you are going to invite those people. And what's going to happen is you're going to invite less people, right? Because in your mind, you're going to create these little thoughts for them. You're going to assume, well, this program wouldn't be right for them, or that program wouldn't be right for them, or, it's going to be a money thing. Any insecurity you have about it, you're going to put on them. And then when you go to invite them, you're going to decide it's easier or less. It's less important to invite them, and it's easier to invite this other person who's got a higher probability of saying yes. And basically what's going to happen is you're going to end up inviting less people. And it's full well, we don't get the right to decide for somebody else who gets to have their lives changed by the opportunity that we have. That goes for coaching, and it goes for the challenge packs. We don't get that right. Our job is to offer it to everybody that we can offer it to and allow them to have the decision on whether or not they believe us, or that they want to be part of it, or that it's right for them, or whatever it is. So if we flip that, and we, instead of trying to find those yeses, we start searching for the people that we expect to say no, what you're going to find is you'll invite a lot more people. You'll feel a lot more free about inviting those people, because your goal is to get them to say no, right? Your goal is, I want to hear no out of this. And if you continue to do that, then all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of yeses from people you would have thought there's no way this person would ever say yes to this. And you're going to find yourself in Deanna's shoes with somebody that's like, I can't believe she just said yes to me. You got to be kidding. I can't tell you how many people I've got now that I was terrified to invite because they'd said no, or I'd sent them an invite and they said, nothing. Or I've got a coach right now that is on the team that I talked about coaching on a post one day, and he responded to it in a very, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, but I said it wasn't about money. This is not about sales. This is about changing lives. And he's like, you know what? I have to disagree. I have to agree to disagree on that. Like, just flat out, you're lying, right? And then he wouldn't respond to anything I said ever about coaching, and any invites or any messages, nothing. And all of a sudden now he shows up one day and decides, yeah, I've been watching you and I want to be a coach. Like, I never would have thought it was for him. So if I didn't think it was for him, I probably wouldn't have invited him. But I don't think about it that way. I don't really care if somebody says no. So I'm fine inviting somebody if they don't say, if I think they're going to say no. Does that make sense to people though? Do you guys kind of see that and get that?
Yeah. So I do this every once in a while on occasional calls where I actually go through and say, I invited people here, and got either no's or ignored or whatever. I actually, while you were talking, because I was listening at the same time because I multitask, which isn't a real thing, but I like to think it is. So I looked at me and Jen's conversations. My very first time I invited her was July 3rd of 2015. July 3rd, over a year ago. Then I invited her again July 23rd of 2015. And that was to a challenge group. Then February, I invited her as a coach because she's got a background in kind of, healthcare and kind of the natural, I'm sorry, I'm going to totally bomb it, Jen, but kind of, a perfect fit,
Nutrition.
Yes. And then, so February, and then I invited her again to coaching in June. And then I invited her to a challenge group in July of this year. And so a year. And no, don't be sorry at all. But that's just, it's so common. If you're just inviting, but you're also like, you're still communicating and connecting with them throughout it. It doesn't have to be the only time I'm going to talk to you is if I'm trying to invite you to something, so just know that, like, when we say be here next year, and it's definitely a process and it's consistency, it's not overnight. And if it was overnight, I don't think we'd want it, because it's building that value and that relationship and that community that I personally long for. So
yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask an honest question, and I want you guys not to be scared. I want an honest answer from everybody. And I know you guys can do this, but I want to know who on this call, legitimately, who on this call right now gets really anxious about when they see somebody say no. Who gets kind of anxious about it? Does anybody get like scared, or Everybody raise your hand. Okay. And so now that you guys keep your hands up real quick, because I can't, otherwise I can't see. Okay. So I'm going to pick on you guys. I'm sorry. But okay, I'm going to start. Becky, I want to know why, and there's no wrong answer to this. I want to flush this out so that because what you're going to find is a lot of you are going to have the same reasons as to why it makes you anxious, why it's concerned. And what I want to do is you're going to recognize that there's everybody else on this call that hasn't raised their hand was exactly in the same place you felt the exact same way. And we're going to be able to share how we got past that. And that's what I want to do for everybody here real quick is help you guys get past why you're fearful in that. Because I'll tell you right now, if you can banish that fear, I hope most of you understand the potential that is in this company. Like, honestly, legitimately, if you guys haven't realized it yet, legitimately, this can honestly change your life forever. While you're changing other people's lives, I sincerely want you to understand that your life from tonight forward, for instance, could be never the same as it was. That's the magnitude of this opportunity. If we can get over this one fear, because this is the fear that really paralyzes the majority of people, is that how are people going to receive me? How are people going to, see me, or how are they going to respond? If we can get past that, we can move forward. And if we move forward, it's a major deal in this business. So I'm going to unmute you. Oh, sorry, Becky. I just actually muted you. Okay. Tell me what is your biggest fear when you think about the word no? What is your concern?
Just that I put somebody in an awkward position. Like, I hate saying no. So I feel like a jerk because I'm like, oh gosh, I just made somebody feel like they had to say no to me when they were just minding their business and having a great day. And then it's just like, hey, let me just put you in this awkward position now and ruin your day. And then I was like, I'm a jerk.
I'd say that's very valid. Jenna, what would you say to that?
I would say if you asked me something and it wasn't for me, I wouldn't be rude, because that's just not my nature. I wouldn't say no. I'd say, well, thanks for thinking of me. I'm not right now. And I'd go on with my day. Like, I probably wouldn't even give it a second thought, honestly, because I get hit up. I get hit up by It Works, and I get hit up by the eyelash stuff. And, and I just politely say, thanks for thinking of me, but, I'm not interested at this time. And I don't even give it a second, I think we get so wrapped up in our heads that we worry what people are going to think, and if you do it in a non-salesy kind of way, you're like, hey, I'm doing this group. I just think that you might really like it as something you'd be interested in. Or do you have any health and fitness goals? And you just leave it at that, and they're like, no, I don't have any. And then you're like, cool. They didn't tell you no, they just don't have any goals right now.
Totally.
It's not a bad thing.
Jennifer, what do you think? Do you think that if somebody reaches out and asks you for something, do you feel like it puts you in a bad position if they're offering you something you have to say no?
No.
Did you even think about it at all beyond the idea of just, I'm going to say, no, thank you, but thank you?
No.
Okay.
I freak out more. I don't worry so much about the no's at this point because people have a right to say no. Everybody's at a different place in their life. That's no big deal. I actually get more people ignoring me than I get no's. What makes me more anxious are the yeses or the tell me mores, because then I put all this pressure on myself. Well, they have an interest, so now it's up to me to share the right words with them and not scare them away or feed them too many words so that they get overwhelmed. Then it's more pressure on me to lose their interest, if that makes sense.
That makes a ton of sense. I mean, like, I actually haven't heard somebody say that. That's really interesting, but it does make sense. I don't even know. I mean, like, I think that's actually really interesting.
I'm just kind of backwards like that, I guess.
I noticed that exact same thing today, Jen, because I noticed that, I sent out probably 60 messages today. I mean, not all of those were invites, not even close, but one of the invites responded back and was like, I actually do have some goals, because I was trying that one out. And I avoided answering that one until the end because of that same thing. Because like, oh, here's my chance to screw it up. Screw. So I totally get what you're saying for sure.
Why would you guys think you screwed up? Like, what are you scared of
I
doing?
didn't, because I think lately what I'm hearing a lot of is I'm getting a lot of people that are like really interested in what I'm doing. They want in, but then it's like, oh, but I'm the single parent, I can't afford it, or I'm this and I can't afford it. And I thought I was kind of getting past that part of whatever, right? You know, like, I mean, of course that comes up a lot, but so in my mind, it's like, oh, she's into it, she has goals, and as soon as she finds out she has to invest something, she's gonna run, you know. I don't know. It's not because I don't see the value in it, because I want, of course, 100% do, but I don't know. That's where I was at today anyway, Jen. I got a lot. Probably getting that nasty no yesterday threw me off too.
So I guess the bigger question is, would you say that that's a concern that you think that they actually have, or do you think that's a concern, that's something that's in your mind?
It's in my head, totally.
So
It's my own pressure on myself and my own insecurities and my ability to present it in a confident way that I know I believe in this and I know what it can do, but it's translating it into words that will make sense to them and will appeal to them where they're at and not scare them away, and my enthusiasm. And it's a little bit anticipating then the excuses that they'll come up with that, oh, well, there's a cost. Oh, well, it's an online group. I thought we were going to be meeting and working out together. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. So it's just anticipating then 5 conversations down the road, them backing out and me not being able to deal with, or not so much deal with, but work with what they're telling me.
You know what's interesting, and I should see if we can get Jessica Vandenberg to get on a call, because she actually loves objections and she loves like being able to work through them. And if you speak one-on-one with her, you notice, like I noticed this a year ago, she won't let anything be negative. Nothing. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, my foot fell off. Well, at least you have the other one and it's so pretty, you know. And she puts a positive spin on everything. And so I'm like, I'm going to try to do that. And it works sometimes. I mean, a lot of times, because you're just like, oh, and you just gave an example and I was like, oh, I want to use that. But then of course, knowing me, I forgot what I was going to talk about. But, you know, that you're like, if they're like, oh, I thought we were going to work out together. No, it's awesome. You get to do it at home. So you can do it, you know, on the time that your schedule. How awesome is that? When the kids are in bed or they're taking a nap, you whip it out really quick. Oh, well, I thought I had to buy some packaged food. No, you totally don't. You get to eat real food, and it's something that you can feed your whole family. Well, oh my gosh, you know, I don't do shakes. Oh my gosh, I totally didn't either, but it's such a lifesaver and it saves so much time. And, you know, and it's funny because she naturally does it. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, wow, I'm doing it too. I must have gotten the Jessie Mojo stuff. But anyways, she like try to make it almost like a game. Like you're like, I'm going to turn everybody's frown upside down. I'm going to make everything like puppy dogs and unicorns. And I'm going to see if I can, because I mean, they all are like, all the objections have a positive side to them. Like, it just depends on how people look at it. Like I had a fellow challenger message me today because their health bet, they were one day off and they're like, I suck. This sucks. I forgot I logged. And I'm like, but look how much you did log. Look how much more you logged than you would have logged if you weren't in the health bet. So all you're focusing on is that one bad day, but you're not focusing on that 4 weeks of good that you just did to your body. And she's like, yeah, I knew you were going to call me out on that. You know, but anything can be turned to a positive. So kind of make it a game to yourself, Jennifer, if you can. You know, if somebody's like, oh, I thought it was this. Well, no, it's actually this. And how cool is that?
Yeah. You actually beat me to the punch on that one. That was perfect. Like I was going to say, if everything that they say, what if it is actually all the concerns? Like you come up with a concern that it's going to, they're going to say it's $140 and it wasn't, you know, they thought it was going to be free, but now they're going to tell me that it's too expensive. What if that literally was a positive, right? What if instead of it costing $140, what if it was only $140, right? Like just the little switch in that, right? Of like, you know, they're going to cost, but it's only, you know, instead of me worrying about them thinking it's going to, or me thinking that they're going to be like, man, I can't believe that's $140. What if my thought is, Yeah, and it's only $140. Like, think about that. $4 a day for an incredible meal and workouts, and you get to be part of an accountability group. Only $140. Like, go to CrossFit and find a place for $140 that you can get all of that. Like, what if it's, just like Deanna said, what if it's, well, they're going to think that it was, it was online and we're going to meet somewhere, but now we're going to, we got to do this at home. And just like she said, like, what if it's actually like, how awesome that I get to do this at home? Perfect example, actually, just for that specifically. Corey, who may watch this, what's up, Corey? She's a new coach on her team, and I was speaking with her today. She's a personal trainer, and she's been a personal trainer for like 20 years, right? Heavily into fitness. Now, to me, I would expect the idea of doing workouts at home to actually be a negative thing in her mind, right? Because she trains people at gyms. She goes to the gym. Like, she does stuff. Like, she teaches classes. She's a certified Pilates instructor. Like, that wouldn't make sense. One of the things that she loved about this, that she loves about it, she's passionate about, is that she can do it in 30 minutes at home. Totally blew my mind. I was like, really? Like, that's amazing, And Shakeology, totally. She's like, oh my gosh, it's incredible. I've got so much energy. I'm like, you've already been eating really clean and all this stuff. Like, I wouldn't have expected that to have the same impact. But all those things ended up being completely different than what I thought. And I think 9 out of 10 times, all the concerns you're having, if you could just look at them like it's honestly the opposite, or just think about what if it is the opposite? Because just like you said, it's in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what it ends up doing is you're really kind of robbing the person of being able to, and this sounds really negative, but just follow me on this. You're kind of robbing the person of being able to think about that on their own and have their own opinion on that, right? Like, you're telling them that this is how it's going to turn out. But what if it's like the best thing that could have ever happened to them ever, right? But because you're kind of in your head about it, you thought that maybe they would think this about it, that you didn't answer that, or you didn't invite them, or you didn't talk to them, and therefore they're missing out on something that could be an incredible opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. I think that is very interesting, actually. But I definitely could see what you're saying with that, because when Jessica said it too, I'm like, oh, I guess it does. I could see that, because now it's like the pressure of, okay, now I got to come through, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah. Like, oh man, now what do I do, right?
I get so used to the non-answers. Nobody's answering back, and then there's the flat out no's, and then suddenly somebody is like, well, yeah, tell me more. It's like, oh, holy crap, now what?
Yeah, now you get to ask questions.
Yeah.
Lots of questions. And to be honest, guys, like, I could totally relate. Like, I know Justin probably doesn't experience that, but I think as women, we're more just sensitive to that, because I go through the same thing. I'm like, not necessarily that I'm going to lose them or whatever, but I'm like, well, now what do I say? Okay, what is the best direction I go? Like, because I'm very good at not word vomiting. In the beginning, I was horrible at it, but now I'm just like, okay, well, how do I reach them? How do I connect them? Now here's my opportunity to start a relationship with them. I don't want to, it's kind of like, a new relationship. I don't want to mess it up. I want to mess up my relationship with this new thing, because they're pretty awesome. And, so I don't, yeah. So I kind of get there too, like, how does the conversation flow? So I'm right there with you. I think that's, and one thing I wanted to share really quick that it's really insightful. Like, how you might look at, like, and I purposely don't follow top coaches because I don't want to do the comparison game, but we all know who some of them are. We know what great things they've been able to do, and they're all pretty and primed up. And even though, they all don't look like that, but it's hard to, sometimes it's easy to forget that they're still human because you see them in their prettiness. But like, when we get scared of getting no's or no responses or what to reply, just think they're getting it 10 times more. So that's the only difference between us and really super successful coaches, is they're just hearing no more. They're just having to start more conversations. They're just, all these things that we're experiencing that make us self-conscious or kind of, I don't know if I want to do that. They're doing it, but they're getting it like 10 times more than we're getting it. But the only difference is they're not stopping. So that's just something to keep in mind. They're not something special. They're just normal.
And Jennifer, just so you know, every single coach, I guarantee, and if they say they're not, they're full of it. Every single coach that's been successful in this in any way, shape, or form has failed so miserably at doing exactly what you're concerned about doing. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been in your scenario where I should have probably been anxious, and I didn't get anxious. And therefore I told them I just vomited all over them and I told them everything. And it was just like the worst possible way that I could go about describing what we do and what they do and trying to get them excited about something. It was so bad. And I still to this day find myself doing it here and there, that it's like, you just, if you don't let that kind of stop you from doing it, expect that you're going to, like there's going to be some times where you just look back and you go, man, I wish I would have said that, or I wish I would have done this different, or, like, man, I didn't come through on that one. But that's okay, because I'm just going to try to take those points and I'm going to try to learn from them. And then I'm going to try to not word vomit on the next person, or I'm going to try to, you know what I mean? Like, but that's the thing is we all fail all the time. Like, you're not alone in that. Like, don't feel like you're the only one that's going to fail. And oh my gosh, what's going to happen if I do? I know I do it miserably all the time. Right? Like, yeah, everybody does. So, don't let that kind of define, or in your mind kind of define your worth based in, like, am I going to come through on this now that they're excited? Now I have this obligation to kind of get them, like, plugged in and help them out. It's like, they're going to be receptive, to be very honest. If the person is really, really receptive to it and they're really ready, there's very little you're going to do that's going to be wrong. Right? Like, they're ready for it, and if they're really not, in my opinion, there's nothing you can say that's right that's going to get involved, right, for the right reasons. Does anybody else, like, I remember, Sarah, I saw you pull up your hand real quick when you said you're scared of no's. What terrifies you of hearing a no? Yeah, there you go.
I'm out of here.
Oh.
Did I just hear I'm out of here? Like, I'm out of here. I'm done.
She wanted you to pick us, so.
Awesome.
Say hi, everyone. Hi, everybody. I think I kind of just agree with Jennifer. Like, with the yeses, like, oh crap, what do I say now? But with the no's, I guess, like, maybe I don't know. I just get anxious about talking to people in general.
I think that's fair enough. Does anybody else feel like that? Does anybody else get just anxious in hearing responses in general? Right? You get your back, and then, like, I know I get anxious sometimes too when I hear, like, certain people, right? Like, I'll definitely get kind of anxious about, oh my gosh, what do I do with this, right? And, like, I don't think that's necessarily anything that most of us at some point don't kind of feel, right? I do feel like if I honestly sit back and just take it from the perspective of, now I've got a conversation, I'm going to just ask a bunch of questions, right? It's weird. Hold on, sorry. I'm gonna do something. Hold on real quick, guys. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Just mute everybody.
I'm just getting really bad feedback. What, Deanna?
Then mute everybody. See if that helps.
Let's see. Okay, hello? Okay, that's better. So, sorry about that. See, I'm failing right now. As always, failing continuously. But I know that if I just start asking questions and stop worrying about, or don't worry so much about, what do I say as much as what can I ask, right? Like, I'm not going to, if somebody responds, they're like, yeah, I'm interested. Great. Ask a question. Well, what are your goals? Well, this and this and this. Awesome. Ask a question. And then you don't have to take for me, it takes some of the pressure off of trying to figure out how I'm going to respond to it. Well, let me get some information. I can definitely give you information. What are your goals? Well, my goals are to lose weight and to do this. Awesome. What do you struggle with? Well, I struggle with my nutrition. Great. How are you struggling with your nutrition? Start asking those questions, continue to ask questions until you can figure out like all the concerns. Then once you figure out all the concerns, all you have to do then is go, okay, here's the concerns. Now from knowing this, I struggle with nutrition. I struggle with time management because I don't have time to go to the gym. And I struggle with, my goal is to lose 10 pounds, right? And I enjoy doing yoga and Pilates, right? Then I can go, okay, I know here's your struggles. So here's what I'm going to do. I know that PiYo is going to be a great program for you because it's going to help you lose 10 pounds. The nutrition plan makes it super simple, so we can really dive into helping you learn how to eat healthy, right? The programs are, the workouts are only 30 to 45 minutes or so, somewhere in that range. PiYo, I think it's actually like 50 minutes, but whatever. 30 to 55 minutes, 30 to 50 minutes. And you can totally do them at home, so you don't have to worry about going to the gym. It can be done at home. And, mix that with Shakeology. And, you're going to lose your 10 pounds, or, you're going to hit your goal. It's going to be really super simple. But through asking all the questions, I've taught myself what to say. Does that make sense? Like, if you're asking enough questions, you already know what to say, because all you have to do is repeat the problems and insert the solutions to the problems that you've learned, because you know what the programs do. You know how they function. If you don't know what program to do or to recommend, then you just hit the team page and say, hey guys, I've got somebody that likes to do this kind of exercise or has this. What would you guys recommend? People are going to bring that in. And then I think for me, it takes off some of the pressure of, okay, now how do I best explain this to them, right? Like, well, here's how I do it. Here's how the challenge groups work. Here's how da-da-da-da. Well, just start asking those questions and ask another question and just get systematic with that, right? And if you can get systematic with the questions that you're asking and finding those before you start telling them about the program, because you don't even know what program to tell them about, because you don't know what the problems are, what their concerns are, right? Then I think it's going to be a little bit easier to kind of get some of the information you need so that you can know exactly what to say without having to worry about it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Babe, did you want to?
Yeah, I was going to say so only because we're going over time again, and we still have a couple more things to talk about. A couple things about what we're talking about. Guys, PD is important. It's paramount. It should be the very first thing you do. So if you're not doing personal development, a lot of the hesitation and the self-doubt and things like that can be addressed with personal development. So it needs to be a daily vital behavior above all else. Like, before you even invite, like, go spend time feeding your mind right, listening to good things. Like, and then also when you invite or somebody says, yes, give me more information. Did you just argue with your husband? Did you just yell at the kids? Well, that's probably not the best time for you to be responding, because you're not in that state where you feel good, right? So those of us who went to Tony Robbins, they talk about a peak state, right? So they play like loud music and they make you dance, which is uncomfortable for a lot of people. But you know what? When you hear that music and that beat and you're dancing, you can't help but be in a good mood afterwards. So if you're kind of in a crappy mood and somebody is ready for more information, a lot of it can just be changed. Your mind can be changed with your physical movement. So if that's putting on music that makes you feel awesome and you dance around like a crazy person for 5 minutes, and then you jump on, you're like, yeah, I got this. It's all just mindset. And, like they say, have a move, have a power stance. In previous calls, I've made you guys scream before. And I'm like, get in that power pose, man. You lift it up, you put your chest up, you scream, you yell, you're like, yeah, I'm a badass. And then when you sit down, you're like, I kind of am a badass, So it's really, and they all seem silly, but it's so important. So you guys need to, at the very, very, very minimum, 10 minutes a day of personal development. And what personal development is best for you is what you find you currently struggle with. So if you're struggling with self-love, you're a badass, must read. If you struggle with time management, eat that frog. If you just kind of think about the now and you don't really understand how things can change or progress, then Compound Effect is great. If you find that you lack positivity, Energy Bus is amazing. So there's something for everybody, depending on what you find that you're really stuck in or struggling with. So I just wanted to share that.
Absolutely. Do you want to just jump into the little challenge we have?
Yes.
Okay. Guys, speaking of tonight and speaking of hearing no's, we have a challenge for you guys. Okay. And so this is how it's going to work. Starting today until not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay.
The 16th.
The 16th. So Sunday the 16th. Between here and then, here's what you need to do. And whoever, there's going to be 2 winners to this, right? And they're going to win a little prize. We're not going to tell you what it is, but just trust us. You'll like it. But either way, so here's what's going to happen. Between here and then, every day, you're going to write down the names of everybody you invited, and you're going to take a photo of it real quickly. Bang, photo, and you're going to post it in the Next Generation team page. Then, it's going to be a little bit on the honor system. You're going to calculate every single day So at the end, so before 6 p.m. on Sunday, the 16th, you need to put in the team page, this is how many no's I heard, okay? No responses don't count. It has to be somebody literally saying, not right now, no thank you, da-da-da. But we're going to find out whoever gets the most amount of no's on that, whoever has the most amount of no's by that day, that person, the top 2 people are going to win a little prize. We're going to give you a little prize. And
I'll share with you, we've done this challenge one time before, and it was what Megan was a brand new coach. Megan Gentry was a brand new coach at the time. And to be honest, like she would say, oh, I just got 60 no's. I just got 70 no's. And she was a new coach. And I was like, bull crap, she's not getting all these no's. Like she's totally fibbing. Like I really thought she was fibbing, but I'm like, okay, it's honor system, whatever. I just have to take it for what it is. But sure enough, you know what? 3 months later, she's just like all those people that did tell her no, then were like, hey, what are you doing? Because she showed up. So there was such power in going for those no's to create that longevity in her business. And so a lot of times what we're doing now when we're building relationships now or we're inviting now, it's not for right now, it's for the new year, right? So we're kind of in the 4th quarter or the last inning to then, start at the beginning of the year. So a lot of times I think as new coaches, because I know myself, I did this, that I was like, they're saying no, it's done. It's just not, it's over, right? Like I just invite one time. It's like, no, you follow up, you still build relationships, you still reach out to those people. And then eventually they're going to see that you're consistent because you're showing up on your page. You're showing up that, you're feeling great and you're positive and you're being you and you're still building that relationship with them. And so when first the year comes around and everybody wants to do this New Year's resolution and it's always to lose weight, they're going to be all, oh my gosh, she's been inviting me all these times. I remember her. Or you're going to reach out to them just at that right time that you've been cultivating. That's why they say we're farmers, I guess. We're planting those seeds. We're watering it. We're not like, I don't know what's
hunting. We're not out trying to get something. We're trying to cultivate and grow. And that's what the no process, that's what the following up process, that's what all that stuff is about. And that's how you end up creating true, honest, like serious ability to help people, is because you're not trying to just go out and get somebody and hunt somebody. Like that doesn't work for us. So yes, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go for that. We're going to go for no. Does anybody have any questions about how that functions or how that works? Does everybody know? It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy.
So we're posting, so we're taking a photo of everybody we've invited for the day. And are we putting how many no's we got that day, or are we waiting until?
You can or you don't have to. I need them by Sunday the 16th before 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is the cutoff. If you want to put on there every day, I heard this many no's, great. Doesn't need to happen. What I need to see is a photo of the names of everybody you invited that day, okay? And then by 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, in the team page, I need to see I got X amount of no's.
Got it.
X amount of no's for this last week and a half. X amount of no's, right? That way I can go back through and be like, oh, you got 60 no's? That's funny because I only saw 12 invites. What happened there? How did that happen? Interesting. See, I got you guys. Don't get it twisted. I'm back.
Starting tonight, Natalie. Okay, quick question. I want you guys to raise the hands. Who is going to be at that retreat we announced in June? Jessica, Natalie, Justin. Oh, Jennifer. That's it? Oh, Becky. What? That seems like you're kind of confused on if you're going. I don't know why everybody's hands aren't raised. Nobody wants to go, like, to enjoy time with us? And get
Tell me why they don't want to go.
They're like, oh, if it's somebody else, we'd totally be there. Okay, cool. All right. So, no, that's good because it kind of gives us a tool to know how to help you and who to help, right? So if that's your birthday week, we'll see, we can all celebrate together.
What better birthday than hanging out with 30 of your closest friends?
Right. I don't even get birthdays anymore.
Right? I age backwards. So.
Don't they realize, like, are they planning on renting out like a cul-de-sac? Like, that's a lot of people from our team that can potentially be going on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I told her that yesterday. I was like,
We're like, no, that's fine. We'll just get another house. Like,
we'll probably have to take care of some of it. I'm sure we'll have to kind of be creative because I'm like, yeah, we'll full on bring like 20 people. I'm like, oh, the house only only sleeps 12. Well, okay.
That's what I'm trying to figure out logistically. Like,
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. We'll figure that out. That's what we do. We'll get that covered.
So yeah. So okay. So Becky, I need a yes or no from you. Are you gonna be there?
Becky wants to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Becky's gonna be there. So we know to support you in the way that you need to get there, which is easy.
We're working it out.
It's helping 3 people a month. That's
Mhm.
gonna be awesome. You can
That's
do
all we really need to focus on. We don't, and that's all any of us need to focus on. We don't need to focus on whether or not we can make that weekend. We need to focus on helping 3 people a month and signing 2 of them up as discount coaches. And then if you get to that weekend and you can go, so be it. But if we take it one step at a time, it'll be a lot less overwhelming.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And worst case scenario, you guys, we invite a bunch of people. We help a lot of people, right? If we're inviting a bunch of people, our worst case scenario is that if we're in this to change lives, we're not changing lives if we're not inviting people. Like, that's all there is to it. And if you help 3 people and you don't, if that's your goal is to get to the retreat and you can't make it, your worst case scenario is, hey, I earned this retreat. That means I helped a lot of people along the way. Awesome. My worst case is that I actually made a lot of lives much better because I was shooting for this. Like, that's our bad end game. Like, really just push for it, and then figure out if you get there, cool. And if not, no biggie. At least you changed a bunch of lives along the way, Okay, guys, I'm going to cut this short, or I'm going to cut this long. So nobody else has any questions? Feel free. Okay. You guys, I appreciate you guys showing up as always. You guys all know where we're at if you have any questions. Otherwise, you guys have a fantastic evening, and thank you again. Go for No challenge starts tonight, ends on the 16th. So let's get some no's, okay? Okay. Thumbs up, guys. All right. Bye, everybody.